Alright, today we are talking about the Avatar movies. The ones with the blue people, not the other one. Right, so Avatar, the first one came out, made a bunch of money, highest grossing movie of all time, but I feel like it didn't really have as big of a cultural impact as it should have, pulling those kinds of numbers. Like, Star Wars was the highest grossing movie in its day, and obviously Star Wars is still relevant today. Jurassic Park was the highest grossing movie of all time in its day, and it's still relevant today. Avatar seems like people only ever talk about it when a new one comes out, and then a couple weeks later, no one's talking about it. So that is why we're talking about it today, because a new one is coming out. And I don't know if I'm going to see this new one or not, because, frankly, I might have better things to do with my time. But I figured we will watch this video, The Avatar Paradox, Why Nobody Talks About These Movies, from The Critical Drinker. And yeah, let's see what's up with this, because why did these movies make so much money, but they don't really seem to stick with people? Let's find out.
Fast food. A quick and convenient source of calories to get you through the day. You buy it, you eat it, and you move on with your life without wasting too much time thinking about what you just put into your body. Which is probably for the best, if I'm honest. In fact,
Yep, I actually use this analogy all the time. I think that bad movies are often like fast food. Sometimes you just get a craving, you just want to watch something for a bit, but then you forget about it. And I wouldn't go quite so far as to say that Avatar is fast food, necessarily. Maybe it's more like candy, like eye candy, because it's so visually beautiful, but there's really nothing else there. So, but I get where you're going with this.
the average American adult consumes 3 fast food meals per week. 37% of them eat it on a daily basis, and in 2023 alone, this sector was estimated to be worth almost $370 billion.
Dang. That's, try to eat more healthy, guys.
Pretty much everyone can recognize the logos and the color schemes and the signature food items for all the big chains. And when you really think about it, fast food actually represents a pretty big part of our culture. But ironically, it contributes almost nothing to it. Well, apart from obesity, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes.
Yes, the quintessential American is... You know what I'm referring to.
He's out of line, but he's right.
I mention all of this because the other day I was looking through the list of upcoming movie releases for the holiday season, and I was struck by a sudden realization.
Yeah, there is nothing. The Avatar movie is like the only thing that really sticks out, and like, do you even really want to see that? Am I gonna go to the theater at all on my holiday time off?
Oh yeah, there's another Avatar movie on the way.
Such apathy.
Great.
Fuck.
And not just on the way either, it's almost here in fact. We're barely a month out from the release of what could be one of the biggest movies of all time. Adjusted for inflation,
What's
the
that?
first Avatar movie brought in more than $4 billion at the global box office.
I heard it, it got over 2.5. When did it get 4? Well,
And the sequel was the third highest grossing movie of
oh, it's adjusted for inflation, that's why.
all time. But here's the funny thing, no one seems to give a shit. There's no anticipation, no fan theories and speculation, no rumours or news coverage hyping the film up. Nobody's buzzing about the return of beloved characters or worried about which ones might survive the next movie.
I don't even remember the characters' names. Like, literally any of them. I think the blue people are called, like, Navi or something. Yeah, I don't remember anyone's names. That's how forgettable these are. I mean, but look, this is brilliant, beautiful special effects, and I'm assuming that's why these movies made so much money in the first place. I mean, I was there in 2009. I remember how blown away everyone was, but I also remember that was pretty much the only point that people actually brought up about the movie. I kept hearing about how amazing it looked. I didn't hear anything else about it. But it looked amazing, so I convinced my dad to take me to watch it. And we watched it. We said how amazing it looked. And that was it. No more commentary. And I think that's why these movies just kind of go through your eyes and out your brain. They're amazing to look at, so people want to look at them, but they don't really think about them because there's nothing really to think about.
Nobody's putting out lore videos and theories about the mysteries of Pandora and where this epic adventure might be heading next.
That's right, they called the planet Pandora, as in like Pandora's box. I bet they thought they were so deep with that one.
Next, for a franchise that now includes two of the biggest movies of all time, and is probably about to add a third one to the list because let's be honest, you know that people are going to flock to see this one, the Avatar franchise is weirdly, culturally inert. And when I think back to the previous two films, it was pretty much the same story. Everyone went to see them, but nobody had anything to say about them afterwards. In fact, most people couldn't even seem to remember them beyond a vague declaration that the visuals were amazing. Somehow,
yeah, that's pretty much what I said. The visuals were amazing, but we didn't really talk about it beyond that.
despite their massive financial success, they've managed to make absolutely no impact on popular culture. Instead of leaving behind a cultural footprint, they're more like a cultural smokescreen that obscures everything for a few minutes, then gets blown away by the next stiff breeze. Nobody ever speaks of Miles Quaritch with the same hushed reverence as Darth Vader, Lord Voldemort, or the Terminator. Nobody mentions Jake Sully when they think of other famous movie heroes like Luke Skywalker, Ellen Ripley, or Indiana Jones. Nobody places Avatar's epic battle scenes in the same league as Return of the Jedi, Saving Private Ryan, or Lord of the Rings.
I mean, the battle scenes were epic, and the way they were structured, the way they were filmed, they're very fun to watch, but you just don't care about any of the stakes, and that is what makes it not memorable.
It's not a problem that's unique to this franchise by any stretch. Shit man, The Rock's entire career was basically built on this stuff. But since the Avatar movies are probably the most extreme example, I'm henceforth going to dub this the Avatar Paradox.
Yes, yes.
So why does it happen? How can movies that are so big and successful have so little lasting impact? Well, maybe it's time we find out. And just to be clear, I'm not making a let's shit on the Avatar franchise kind of video.
I will do that. I will shit on the Avatar franchise. I think one of the biggest problems that this franchise has is that it seems to spend way too much of its time trying to develop the ecology of the world and not the culture of the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's all kinds of lore about, every single one of these plants that you see on the screen here. There's, a whole Wikipedia worth of information about all of it, but no one really cares. It's, I think it's a movie that tries to build a theology around its biology, but not around the culture or the characters that inhabit the world. You know what I'm saying? It's basically an environmentalist orgasm. But it's all a fake world, so there's no connection to the Earthling audience. That would be us. There's no connection to us, so people just don't care. And that is why these movies are trash.
I'm doing this because I actually think this is an interesting cultural phenomenon that says a lot about the state of modern filmmaking, and I want to try to understand it a little better.
Yeah, isn't it funny that the most interesting cultural impact that Avatar has is its lack of cultural impact? That is a damning statement.
So, let us see if we can unravel the Avatar paradox together, shall we? Part
Yay.
1. Effort. Well, one thing I can't accuse these movies of is lack of effort. James Cameron's a notoriously committed, hard-driving director who puts 100% into everything he does and expects the same of everyone around him, often to the detriment of his cast and crew. But looking at the behind-the-scenes footage and all the interviews with everyone involved, you can tell that they really worked hard to produce the best technically made film that they could. Everyone seems to be giving it their all. The actors were genuinely put through the mill on this one, and Cameron's clearly pushing them to deliver on his creative vision. Shit man, the guy's been working on this series for almost 20 years at this point. It's practically a lifetime obsession for him, and considering he's now 71 years old and there's like 3 more of these things on the way, it's likely to carry him through to the very end of his career.
Oh man, that is sad. To devote your life to something that no one is gonna care about 2 weeks after it leaves the box office? Yeah, I don't know. I may see this one. I think I've got like some movie ticket coupons that expire at the end of the year, so they'll have to be used on something, and there's really nothing else out at the moment, so if for that reason alone I may see it, but I'm not spending money on this. I highly doubt it. Oh man.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
And don't get me wrong, I absolutely respect a man with a passion for his craft.
Yeah, I mean, at least these movies were made, not just as generic slop like a lot of other movies. So there is that. We're getting there, boys. It's not quite great yet, but we're getting there.
The thing is, all that effort doesn't necessarily translate into what you see on screen in this case, because what you see on screen is like 95% CGI fakery with all the baggage that comes along with it.
But it's awesome CGI fakery. You know, they say CGI has been looking worse and worse over the years, but these movies at least hold up.
People just aren't impressed or captivated by that kind of thing anymore because they've seen it a million times before in a million other movies and video games. And well, it brings me on to my next point. Part 2, Spectacle. Whatever else you want to say about them, the Avatar films are definitely good-looking beasts. They're extremely technically accomplished movies, and you can see why the first one captivated everyone's attention back in 2009.
That was so long ago.
James Cameron had always pushed the limits of filmmaking technology throughout his career. He did the same thing with Avatar, and well, the results speak for themselves. There had literally never been anything quite like that movie, and so people flocked to see it for the novelty and spectacle alone. The problem is that spectacle without substance is like dating a really hot girl with no personality. It gets old real fast, and once those good looks start to become familiar and mundane, there's not much to keep you hanging around.
Hold on, my avatar died. I gotta fix this. We'll be right back. Yeah, you know, the irony is not lost on me that I just said that my avatar died whenever I'm talking about the movie Avatar. That is hilarious. I'm so funny. Alright, back to the video.
The other problem is that what was magical and awe-inspiring back in the simpler days of 2009 isn't in 2025.
Again, the simpler days of 2009. I missed them so much. You know, I had friends back then. No offense to my friends now, but you know, what I mean to say is I actually saw my friends every day back then. Now, I work. And they work. You know where this is going.
Audiences today are all maxed out on visual spectacle. If anything, I'd say they're actually kind of bored of it all now because movies have become so big and CGI so ubiquitous that we've basically reached the limits of what you can throw at the audience.
Yeah, I'd rather watch a black and white movie with like just no effects at all, just people talking from like the 50s or whatever, instead of, you know, a lot of these spectacle movies, because there's actually substance there. It's called maturing and getting wiser and older. Again, I was around in 2009. I'm getting older. Oh man, that was 16 years ago.
The Avatar films still look great, don't get me wrong, but these days they're just another collection of great-looking, visually overwhelming movies in a sea of them. There's nothing especially unique about the experience now, which is why it desperately needs Number 3, Heart and Soul. This is the big difference between Avatar and Cameron's earlier work, the lack of substance. Movies like Terminator or Aliens aren't remembered today because of their amazing visual effects. I mean, they definitely look good and they hold up well even today, but all of that stuff is secondary to their real appeal, which was their excellent stories, their compelling characters, their superbly constructed action sequences, their unique concepts, and most importantly, the core of humanity that drove them forwards. What would Aliens be without Ripley's desperate mission to rescue Newt from the alien queen? What would Terminator 2 be without a damaged Sarah's awkward attempts to reconcile with her son, or John's paternal relationship with the T-800s? Shit man, even the Abyss had an estranged husband trying to reconnect with his ex-wife. This, I think, is what's really missing from the Avatar movies, an emotional core that everything else is built around. It's not to say that they don't try to give you something. The first Avatar is really just a story about two people from vastly different cultures falling in love in the middle of an epic conflict.
Ah, Pocahontas. Yeah, I'm giving the Avatar slander. I mean, to be fair, there is a story. It's just not a very exciting one when compared to anything else.
The second movie is about those same people trying to hold a family together in the middle of another epic conflict.
I mean, yeah, like I said, they try to tell a story, but I just don't really care about any of them, so the story kind of falls flat, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Not exactly groundbreaking stuff, but whatever. The difference is that they, and the characters that make them up, feel like they were injected later into a story that had already formed, instead of being the emotional core that everything else was built around.
Exactly, like I said, the characters seem secondary to the environmentalist aspects of the film. Like, we want to make this movie about, you know, all the plants. They all have their own Wikipedia articles. The whole environment is really the star of the show. But we need some characters to put in there to, I guess, kind of make it interesting, and that's what it feels like. The characters are just there to serve the story of the environment, where the sentient people are secondary importance.
The result? They come across as obligatory rather than unique, like some mandatory checkbox that had to be ticked to justify everything else that happens in the movie. And as for the characters themselves, well, they're not exactly gripping individuals. I don't feel much of anything for Jake and Neytiri because when you get right down to it, they're just not particularly interesting people. Neytiri's the stereotypical noble savage with a vaguely...
I wasn't gonna say it, but he said it. Yes, this is a noble savage movie. Yeah, we'll just let him speak here for a little bit.
Sympathetic attitude towards the protagonist, and that's it really. Jake is just a stock soldier guy who starts to question his loyalties when he gets a taste of that blue ass. He does.
Yep, so we got the noble savage, and we got the white savior, basically. That is what this movie boils down to. Yeah, maybe let's not tell stories like that. I'm not a fan of the noble savage trope. It is so historically wrong. But that's a topic for another day.
Doesn't have much in the way of personality, drives, charisma, unique strengths or weaknesses. And well, he's not helped by a pretty anemic performance from Sam Worthington. There's a reason that guy's career failed to launch 15 years ago, and it's not for lack of opportunities, trust me. Add all these problems together, and the characters at the core of Avatar are really just stock archetypes built to service the plot. Their relationship lacks any weight because the audience can't get all that invested in them, and so there's no drama or urgency to the story because for the most part, nobody really cares whether they live or die. It all comes back to that spectacle over substance problem that I mentioned earlier. For all the work and technical skill that went into them, the Avatar movies lack the one thing that made so many of Cameron's other movies so memorable. An emotional core. That's why nobody remembers them or talks about them after they've left the theatres, because like that hot girl with zero personality, once the immediate visual impact starts to fade, you realise there's not a whole lot left to say.
Yeah, and after 16 years, things start to not look so good. I'm I'm talking about the movies, not women. Obviously, women aged like fine wine. They never ask a woman her age or anything like that. No. I don't know where I'm going with this metaphor.
I mean, maybe none of it matters, really. I'm sure Avatar 3 is going to put another couple of billion in the bank for Disney, so who cares?
Oh man, Disney owns this too. What do they not own at this point? Man, yeah, I'm waiting. Apparently there's like, what, 3 of these left? I'm wondering how well each subsequent movie is going to do. Like, are they going to keep making $2 billion plus, or are they going to start to fall off and make chump change, like $1 billion? Can't believe I'm saying $1 billion is chump change, but compared to, you know, the previous track record, sure.
It's all just junk food at the end of the day. Anyway, that's all I've got for today.
Go away.
Go away now.
Alright, so that was the Avatar movies explained by the Critical Drinker. Yep, not really sure if I'm gonna go see this new one. Maybe, maybe not. If I do, I'll post about it on Letterboxd, but I'm not gonna remember anything past that, so... Yep, that's all we have for today. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the future.